You are listening to Resilient Life, the podcast where we explore the power of resiliency. I'm Nikita Ross. It is my hope that listening to this podcast will give you the tools to connect with and increase your resiliency. So join me on this adventure of self-discovery and self-love. Thank you for joining us on this week of Resilient Life. I am looking forward to this conversation I'm going to have this week with one of my longtime friends. We'll start with introductions. Will you please introduce yourself and tell us your chosen profession and anything else you want to share about yourself?
Okay, well, I am Kalita Javon, and my chosen profession is I work for the VA, and I am in suicide prevention grants program. So that is what I do full time. I'm an administrative coordinator in that position, and how it correlates with everything else I'm up to in life, I will say that I am a coordinator. And so, in doing so, and I'm also a visionary. So, I have a number of things going on from something that is a passion of mine, which actually started with my work that I do at the VA. So, it's something called Forgiveness Mission. And we host forgiveness workshops, and we do them bi-monthly currently. So, our next one coming up will be April 13th. And so, so we host forgiveness workshops where we talk about 4 areas: forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others, forgiveness and wellness, how it's impacting our bodies, as well as forgiving the world, more of a broader perspective regarding forgiveness. And so that is something that I would call my passion project. And we have been doing them consistently for the last 2 years. And
Wow.
I also am a licensed insurance broker. So I also do life insurance part time. So those are 2 areas of interest for me. I'm always about legacy, um, you know, ownership, and family. Those are some things that are very important to me.
I love that. I think that your passion project, as you called it, is so impactful and life changing. Just the essence of forgiveness. And it's actually one of my questions. And so we'll actually jump right into that question. Have you forgiven yourself?
That is a really great question. I thank you for asking that question, because oftentimes when just talking to people, especially people who have not heard of forgiveness workshops or forgiveness mission or anything about it, oftentimes we think about others, what someone may have done to us or what we may have done to someone else and feel guilty about it. But rarely do we actually look at ourselves as being someone we may have to start with. And so that's a really great question. And that's also why we start with that question for our workshops. For myself, as something I had to come to grips with, you know, um, and more so the place where I was stuck.
Mm.
I was stuck for quite some time regarding a failed relationship and, the dream, releasing and letting go of the dream, what you might have wanted your life to be like, what you wanted certain things to happen, and being attached to it kind of being that way, and it just fell apart, and it wasn't that. And kind of, in prayer about it, and, it's just, yeah, it just turned out not how I wanted it to. And so um, I was in a place of healing for a very long time, and so just dove into um, reflection, dove into self development. I took a number of self development courses, whether it was communication courses or something called divorce recovery, was something that was a healing place for me. Um, and so, yeah, I had to even come to grips with for myself, even years later, where, in being single and looking at, what's there for me, of why I've been single so long. And, even recognizing when I have been in a place where I was Fort Knox and pushing people away, um, to getting to a point where I'm good, So if it happens, it happens. And that's wonderful. And I have the desire. The desire's there, the hope for that love that we do desire is there. But I have other focuses right now, primarily family and also my businesses. So, um, yeah, I'm in a really great place right now.
I'm happy to hear that.
Mhm.
I think, Kalita, that a lot of people can relate and connect to that place of, I have this image or this view of where I want my life to be. I want to be married by this time. I want to work at this place. I want to make this much. I want to live here. I want to drive this vehicle. I want to live in this state. Whatever those things are, I think lots of people can relate to that. And there's nothing wrong with having dreams and desires and ambition. And sometimes life doesn't go exactly the way we want it to. And having that ability to, my word I've been probably using too much at this point, pivot, uh, readjust, reassess when things don't go as expected. I think for me, that is one of the big things of resilient, which takes me to the next question. How do you define resilient?
Well, one thing I will say, I love the word you just used a second ago, regarding pivoting. And I feel like as far as being resilient and resiliency, that is exactly that. Things happen we have no control over sometimes, whether whatever it could be, whether it's in regards to your family and someone unexpectedly pass away, or you suddenly, as a child have to move and you're like, oh my goodness, what about my friends? I got to change schools. I got to
Mhm.
do whatever, to, there's so many things that may happen that's out of our control. The whole pandemic happened out of our control, you know, various things that happen in life that we literally have no control over. But what we do have control over is how we are viewing it. Our are you going to make this a horrible time and drag this out and have negative energy and, be mad at the world, mad at everybody else? Or are you going to just, you adapt, adjust, in that magic word that I just mentioned is pivoting. And so, I know for myself, I have had to do that in a number of times. And I think because of things in my upbringing, um, I think it's prepared me for later in life and certain things that happen where a number of people would be like, oh my goodness, how are you so happy? Or, oh, well, why are you smiling? I've literally had people ask me things like that before. And it's like, because I'm alive and things are good. And, you can start to look for the good. That's one of those things that I say, like, if you look for the good each and every single time, you'll find it. I don't care whatever case scenario, however bad it can be. And it can be bad, hurt, abuse, or whatever, but there is good in everything, even if it's the just the lesson that might have gotten learned, through this, or what you might do with the lesson that might be learned, that, hey, you may have helped someone else. You may have able to shield someone else. You may have, so many different things. So it's, there's good in everything if you look for it. And so that has become my perspective, and that has also helped me in so many ways throughout my life. And so, yeah, but that's what resiliency means to me.
Thank you for that answer. I think what stood out to me, and I'm going to word it differently than you did, but part of what I heard from you was about perspective and how you view life. And
Mm-hmm.
so if I choose to see or focus on only the negative, then that is going to be the quality of my life.
Mm-hmm.
If I choose to focus on the positive or find a positive or a lesson in life, in incidents, and when I wake up in the morning, that will be my experience in life. And so for
Mm-hmm.
me, I love that because I am a firm believer that happiness and joy is a choice. It's a choice every day. Because as you said, things will happen in life, horrific things. And that doesn't mean that you say, oh, this really bad thing happened to me and I'm joyful. That's not it at all. It's you process and you grieve. If grief is what is the emotion you feel, whatever, you allow yourself to feel the emotions, but you don't stay there. And so
Yes.
that's what I got out of what you were
Mm-hmm.
saying. And hopefully I'm
Yeah.
not putting words in your mouth. Uh,
No,
did I
no,
get that
no.
right,
It
Kalita?
was a really great summary. Yes. And a recreation of what that was. And so, yes, I agree completely. I may not have said that word perspective, but literally that's what I was describing. And so, yes, it is definitely about perspective. And you can own that. That's what you have control over,
Yes.
and sometimes, especially at certain places, especially if you've dealt with depression or dealt with,
Mhm.
certain things where everything is not sunshine and roses, and you maybe have been beaten down so much where, yes, you may only see negative, only see some certain things, but have a hope. We'll carry the whole
Mhm.
world on our shoulders, and we don't want to share. We don't want to look bad. We don't want nobody to know that we're dealing with something, but everybody is dealing with something. Everybody. You're not exempt. And when we share, we realize, oh my goodness, I'm not
Mm.
alone.
Mm.
I don't care how low of place you feel you might be, that you cannot rebuild. You cannot get
Mm.
up. I don't care if, everybody has left you, or maybe you may not have family, or you feel like you don't have friends, or, whatever that might be there,
Mhm.
you can start again.
Mm.
You can start anew. You have life and breath in your body for a reason. You have a purpose. There's
Yeah.
something for you to do out here
Yeah.
in this world. There's some good you can bring in helping another. And that's where we really get a lot of our power, is helping another. It's like you don't understand how much life you get, happiness, joy. We talked about what can bring you joy. Oh my goodness, helping another, man, so much. So that's why you're here, because we all need each other. And so the same way, you may need someone needs you.
Mm.
Know that you you deserve more. You have something inside you, some little inkling that I deserve more or I want more. And so if you
Yeah.
have that, it's like, okay, what good can I find? I'm still going to stick with that same saying, find the good. And so even if it is, okay, I know that there's been various different exercises that people will say over the course of time, like, oh, well, find 5 things, or write down 5 things in
Hmm.
regards to what is, good, or, what you're grateful for, or something of
Hmm.
the sort. Start there. If nothing else, okay, if 5 is too much, three, three.
I
One
love
of
it.
those things is you woke up today. One of those things is, man, I was able to take an extra another breath. Okay, so what else? And so for
Yeah.
me, if you found 3 things today, tomorrow, find 3 new things.
Mm.
So you're not using that same I woke up today all week long. You can,
Right.
if that's where you are, fine.
Yeah.
But how about next week? Can we find 3 other new things? Because
Yeah.
it's a muscle that we're building.
Yes.
It's a muscle that we're building. And so,
Yes.
okay, as you continuously working out this muscle, you're working out this muscle. And, okay, I found 3 things that I'm grateful for. I find another 3 things I'm grateful for. And over some time, let's just say you did that for 3 to 6 months. Then
Mm.
you'll start to feel like, okay, maybe you could find a little extra. Man, you was able to find 10, and
Yes.
it's a muscle that's being built. I know
Yeah.
I believe in affirmations all day long, affirmations. And for me, one of my affirmations that I've always have stood on for the longest period of time was I am enough. And I needed that reminder previously. And I am enough. I am enough. And not just that. I mean, I had other affirmations too that I might have stated. But me actually doing affirmations daily for about a good year and a half, and I kind of stopped. I kind of went away from them and was doing other things in life and everything. And then something hit me. Life happened. Something hit me. And I was literally in the midst of something. And it was like a tool that
Mm.
came out your back pocket that
Mm.
was okay, reminded you. So maybe, that's why I believe in affirmations, because they're tools. You may not see it right now. You might say, okay, I'm wealthy, and your account is a negative $152. Okay, well, you keep on standing on I'm wealthy, even though you do not see it. You may not see it, but keep on standing on that. Keep on standing on that. It's going to come. What you think is what you shall have. And so, you know, anyway, I'm not going to
No.
preach.
No.
So,
If that is preaching, I would attend your church. I'm here for everything you're saying. I love it. I love that you, in our conversation about perspective and choosing joy and how joy and happiness are a choice. And there are certain things that if we do them or encounter them, instantly our mood is lifted. What brings you joy, Kalita?
what came up for me was water. I love water. Um, I love to go to the beach. The summertime, I have a chair, a lawn chair, and a blanket in my trunk always, because yes, I don't, whatever little given time that I may have, say, oh, I got some extra time today. I'm gonna go to the beach and I might see the sunset, or I might go to the beach just to relax and maybe journal, or maybe I might go and take a stroll and go walk. So definitely water is a thing for me. I love going for walks on trails as well. So nature, I'm definitely have some type of connection with nature. Although I don't tend to do as much like camping or anything like that. I have once or twice in my life, but yes, I would say that I appreciate nature. Um, the other thing that brings me joy is definitely family. Family,
Mm.
definitely spending time with family, friends. I love watching my kids play. with each other, and just being regular siblings and stuff like that. I enjoy those times, or having a game night and things of that nature. So yeah, I'm a family girl too. So those are the two areas that would bring me joy.
That's good. I like that. Um, what is the healthiest thing you've done for yourself?
The healthiest thing I've done for myself. Hmm. Really great question. I will say the healthiest thing that I have done for myself, my first thought was, oh, when you think of health, you may think of your physical health, like
Mm,
exercise or something of the sort. That's one of my first thought. But as I reflect on your question, I will say the healthiest thing that I've done for myself was invest in myself.
mm,
And definitely in investing in self-development, um, whether it's been taking courses to being a part of a mastermind group, a part of a couple of business groups. um, I did something called Landmark Forum. I know some people may or may not know of it, but that was a um, life change for me, from doing that to taking communication courses. That helped me tremendously. And looking at certain things has helped me to repair certain relationships in my life as well, to so much that I've gained from it. Um, I already mentioned the divorce recovery that I partaked in. I didn't just do that one time. That was like
mm.
a 13-week um course program or what have you, and I did it twice. Just because it was like, okay, well, I'm seeing some things, but even some months later, you have a whole nother perspective because you're in a different place,
Yeah,
different, mindset and things of that nature. So for me, that was the best thing, the healthiest thing that I've done, is investing in myself, in my own mental health, and you know, moving forward, I would say, like, and not being held back by my past or certain things
mhm.
that I um, may have thought, or even it just has given me such a greater perspective on life. And so I would say that has been the healthiest thing for me.
That's good. It sounds
Mhm.
like that the steps you took were really beneficial for you. What advice would you have for people who are either having difficulty identifying their resiliency or difficulty connecting with their resiliency? What advice would you have for them on how to be more resilient, how to connect with their resilience, or how to recognize that they have exhibited some resilience so far?
I would say each and every single person, you have the capability. It's there. It's already inside of you. It's not any place that you have to even seek or to look. It's there. It's inside of you. Um, what I would say is change is inevitable.
Mm,
Change happens.
mhm.
5 minutes ago, there was a lot of change. 5 more minutes is going to be a whole lot more change. Like, change is inevitable. That's the only thing that's constant. The only thing. And when we wrap our mind around that change is inevitable, and just release a little control,
Mm,
you'll be at such a greater place. you know
mm,
like, so one is the realization that yes, change is inevitable, things are going to change, and I
mhm,
know us as human beings, we want things to stay the same. That's our comfort zone. but they're not. They're never going to stay the same. Life happens, things happen, there are upsets, there are, disappointments, there are things like we mentioned earlier about how things that happen outside of our control and things of that nature. But it is, how are you pivoting within that change? How are how are you making it through?
Yes.
Acknowledging that, hey, you're gonna make it through. It's
Yes.
inevitable, it's gonna happen, and life doesn't end right here because it's something that's changing. The rug might have been pulled from up under you and you might have slipped and fell. Okay, well, let's get back up. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
take one step and then we'll take another. You may not see any other steps to take. That's okay.
Mm.
Just take one. Okay, once you take that one step, another one will get it revealed.
That is so, I don't know the word. Heartfelt, I think is the word that I want to grab onto. Things that I heard throughout all of your answers, but specifically when you're answering this question about how to increase a person's resiliency, is being vulnerable. And that's that talking to people. And that takes, sometimes we view vulnerability as a weakness, but actually it takes a lot of strength to be vulnerable. I also heard like this optimism, and you've been sharing that theme has been interwoven in all your answers. I love this, having this optimistic view of life, of the world, of the people around you. And I heard the importance of helping others, and I heard basically connecting with your purpose, because everyone is here. You said you have a purpose, you have breath in your body for a reason. And I need you to know that there are traits um, of resiliency, and you hit on several of them.
Mhm.
And it just makes me feel all tingly. I want to know, how do you prefer to receive love and support?
Well, for those who know about love languages, my top two love languages are acts of service, as well as words of affirmation.
Mm.
Words of affirmation. Those are my two top love languages. And so that's, I guess, across the board, whether it is, um, with my kids, you know, I'm, I feel like, we all have a little bit of all the love languages, you know, because
I
I
think
feel
they
like
say that in the book.
yeah, and I am definitely an affectionate person, especially with my children. It's like I just want to hug them and kiss them, Um, so I know that about me. But as far as how do I prefer to receive love? I would say, yeah, I'm a very thoughtful person. Even, in giving a gift and things of that nature, I might think about, what it is that person may want, like, or need, or get a combination of some things and, make a gift basket or all kinds of stuff like that. So I love the thoughtfulness. I love, so whatever it might be, um, I'm touched by just someone thinking of me,
Yeah.
that they didn't have to, especially if it
Yeah.
wasn't like a holiday or a birthday. Oh my goodness, you know?
Cleta, I want to thank you for taking the time today to share your thoughts and your perspective. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being on Resilient Life. Do you have any final things that you want to share before we wrap up the episode?
um, I will just state the reminder for the viewers and those that are there. that you are resilient. You are resilient already. And one thing that I would, challenge you or invite you to accept the challenge or assignment is make a list of the things you've accomplished,
Mm.
the things you've done. Every single thing that you've done. I don't care if it is, yes, there's things like, yeah, you might have gotten this degree or you might have, completed this, but I mean, man, it could be you learned how to make breakfast. If that's the accomplishment, whatever it is of the accomplishment, however big, however small it may be, start to list out your accomplishments. The same way that, people do vision boards, you do an accomplishment board, hang it on your wall. Just even looking at that does something. It is that reminder, even looking at your resume, like, oh yeah, I did do that. I did that. And so as life continues and something else comes up, you will be reminded, man, you did this. You did that. You can do this too. So that will be the challenge. So I would love to see in the chat or something like, yeah, I accepted that challenge. Yeah, I'm doing that challenge. I would love to see that. And, I want to see at least a couple people. Can you be that one? You be that one to accept that challenge. I would love to see it.
That's a perfect way to end this episode. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing to Resilient Life. Until next week. I hope this episode gave you some tools to connect with and increase your resiliency. I'm proud of you. Let's keep up the momentum. Follow Resilient Life on your favorite podcast platform and on YouTube at Resilient Life Podcast. Until next time, be kind to yourself and others.